to be that formal with you guys. Most of you guys know who I am, but I'm Matt anyway. I'm the owner of RBI Australia, and I'm also a T-ball and baseball coach. This is Daniel Med here. Daniel here is very experienced T-ball coach, baseball coach, even coaches with the Sydney Blue Sox now, so we're in pretty good hands there. Dan put together this program that we're going to go through tonight. He's a very considered and thoughtful coach, so we're lucky to have him here to help us out. So thank you, Daniel, for coming and giving us your time tonight. Yeah, what we cover here is a lot of the fundamental stuff in here is more aimed at the very basics and beginners. But in saying that, like I was saying to Greg before, Greg's coaching Junior League, he'll still get something out of this because we cover aspects of team management, you know, dealing with parents, all that kind of stuff. And this is the 4th year we've run it now, 4th or 5th year, I think 4th. And we've never had someone come here and say that they didn't get something out of it, you know, so everyone's sort of enjoyed it. So I'll hand over to Dan to kick it off.
Sweet, thanks mate. So like Matt just said, a couple of years ago, what I found out when I was playing SC was, because I was experienced in the game, every time we'd go and play another team that wasn't experienced, it just ruined the whole thing, right? And I always wanted to keep giving them tips. So we thought, right, why don't we put something together that makes it nice and easy for everybody? Like, that's what kind of annoys me, that we don't have 30 people here. Like you guys that are at T-ball, B-ball and all of that, I'm sure like at B-ball, nearly everyone's a brand new coach, I'd probably say, right? Like, it's kind of annoying that Macarthur haven't spread this a little bit further. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, came up with this handbook. I wrote this handbook, and it's just a dum-dums version. All right, it's as simple as you can get it. It is aimed at brand new coaches, mostly T-ball and now B-ball. But I'm not going to go through word for word with this. You guys got the copy of this. You guys can take it home. But as we get through some stuff, I'll explain things a little bit better. All right, basically tonight we're going to go through the fundamentals. So our first fundamental is our ready position. All right, if you can drill this into your kids when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, you'll get their attention a lot more during the game. Like my kids now are 8, 9 and 10 years old, and as the pitchers they're ready to pitch, I've still got kids yelling out ready positions like they did 6 years ago when they started T-ball. All right, and by starting that nice and early, it gets them engaged in what's happening at the plate, right? Because you've probably noticed, you know, the couple of games or training sessions, you know, if the kid swings and misses, you've got 6 kids out there just like looking around at butterflies. And, you know, if you're playing at Camden and an aeroplane goes over, that's it, you've lost them all. So if you can drill into them and keep saying ready position before everyone hits the ball, then you're going to have however many kids you got, 5 on the field, 9 on the field, whatever it is, you're going to have them all engaged and paying attention to what's going on. All right, so with our ready position, again, it's not in the old days, I don't know, you might remember, in the old days it used to be like this was our T-ball ready position. It's not that anymore. We're baseballers, I don't care if you're 4 years old or 44 years old. All right, our ready position is we're ready to get the ball. All right, so what we want is we want their feet just a little bit wider than their shoulders. And the key word here, and this is through everything from T-ball right up to pro, is being athletic. All right, you want the kids to be athletic. Just start saying that now. You want them to be athletic, because when it comes to hitting, want them to be athletic. When it comes to fielding, be athletic. When it comes to pitching, be athletic. You'll see as we go through all of this, it all ties into each other. All right, so you want their feet a little bit wider than their shoulders and their knees bent, and you want their hands out ready to go. All right, try and just get their fingers pointing to the ground, and then they're ready. That's their ready position. All right, as they get a little bit older, you'll introduce prep steps. Probably once you get to say Zuka, once the ball goes in the machine and it starts beeping, then it'll be like right foot, left foot, ready position. All right, but just for T-ball, B-ball, it's literally just, you want everyone ready position. All right, as coaches, you'll yell out ready positions. All right, and then the kids will yell it back to you. That call and response throughout this whole program is the most important thing. If you keep them engaged, you know, if you keep asking the questions, I'll keep answering you, right? What I like to do when it comes to this is I don't like the word captain, right? I have a leader. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit here, but you'll see where I'm getting at. I've got this badge, you know, in soccer, and the captains have that armband. I went and got one that was blank, and I took it to an embroiderer and got a leader written on it. And each week I pick a leader. It changes every single week, right? It's whoever pretty much was the best at training becomes the leader that game. And what that leader does, it's their job is to make sure everybody's doing the right thing, everybody's cheering, everybody's paying attention, and at T-ball, everybody's ready. Everybody's in that ready position. You got that leader, You don't, even if you don't have the badge, just tell them, just go, right, Paul, you're the leader today. All right, when you're out in the field, you tell them that's their job, make sure ready positions. And every time the coach or the catcher puts the ball on the tee, Paul turns around and goes, ready positions. And then you see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, how many kids you got? And they're all like this, and they're all ready. Okay. Again, it's about being athletic. One key that I like to use when we're trying to explain to them about being athletic is I get them to jump. All right, if you see kids and their legs are too close together, they can't really jump. Or you'll see kids when you talk about that ready position, and they're just kids, they're having fun, and their legs are like this. And that's again, it's not athletic. So I tell them, I go, right, get in your ready positions. They're all like this, like you guys. Some of them are together and some of them are wide, and I tell them to jump, right? And they can't jump, okay? But then you get them to where you want them and get them to jump, and they'll jump twice as high, right? That's that athletic position. That's the ready position, okay? Again, for the younger ones, it's not very comfortable. They'll go, oh, my back hurts, because they're probably leaning over too much. Just tell them as if they're sitting down on an invisible seat. Right, get their bum closer to the ground, because when it comes to fielding ground balls, we don't want them coming over the top. We want them to bend from their backside, get their glove down. Okay, so ready position is really important. So I explained it here. Bend your knees and your back comfortably. Place your feet a little wider than your shoulders. Place your arms out in front of your body, not too far away, and always have your palm of your glove facing to the batter. So this will tie into ground balls a little bit later, but with that ready position, I said to you before, have their fingers pointing to the ground. All right, don't want them up like that, because if the ball gets hit to them, they've got to actually turn and then get down. So I try to have them have their fingers to the ground already. This is their ready position. All right. The reason why we want their fingers pointing to the ground is it gives us the best opportunity to field a ground ball. All right, you will see kids right up until they're 14 years old, especially when we do it in here on a Havre Academy. You'd probably see the same thing, Matt. Kids put their gloves like that. All right, now if I show you this, when their gloves flat like that and the ball is rolling, it's going to hit the front of their glove, and they've only got this part of the pocket. If their fingers are pointing down, the ball is always going to go into the glove, and they've got a bigger section for the ball to go into. Okay, so that's why it's really important that we always say to them, whether they're in the ready position, whether they're fielding the ball, is that their fingers are pointing to the ground. Okay, fingers are pointing to the ground. Ready position, when they go to field it, they're out in front. We've got this big triangle pyramid here. Everything's out in front, so if they make an error, the ball stays in front. Okay, but getting back to that, that's our ready position. So if that ball got hit straight to them straight away, they didn't have to move. They just go straight down and pick it up. Okay, every single pitch or every single time the ball goes on that tee. Swing and miss, doesn't matter. Let them reset, come back again, ready positions, and they're all ready. Okay.
In everything you do, it's easier to work up than it is to go down and get the ball. You know what I mean? So when in doubt, start lower. Then you have to. Same as when you're fielding a ball, you want to start with the glove on the ground, because if it goes under, it's harder to go down and get it. You can always come up. You're going to react to the ball coming up. Right?
You'll see some things that'll make you laugh, especially at b-ball. Like you'll see kids when you say, yeah, get your bum low to the ground, and then they're literally sitting on the ground. You're right, like they'll sit there, their legs crossed and whatever. But if you reiterate that at training, when it comes to the game, like that was a difference. My team coming up through T-ball, that was the difference between us and every other team every game. I had parents, I'm telling you, every single game, our parents would say how good they were because they were in ready positions. And because one kid would yell it out, and then the next thing I got 5 kids yelling it out. My centre field was doing it and my third baseman was doing it. Everybody's doing it. And it just looked incredible.
Keeps them occupied too. Like in T-ball, like the little T-ball, you can go 2 or 3 minutes without anything happening. You know what I mean? If that kid's taking a swing or fouls, couple of fouls, that kind of thing, those kids in the field, man, you've lost them. You know what I mean? At least if every time that kid's about to swing, they're all looking around, making sure everyone's in ready position, they're singing it out and they're doing something. At least they're doing something in between that time as well. And then to skip ahead as well, like Squibby, like to be ready, like I'm not telling you how to suck eggs, but even a junior league, right? I bet you half those kids who haven't been taught this at this age coming through are probably standing there like this. Oh yeah, ball's going, I'm ready, get the ball to me. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes a huge difference because the ball's getting hit harder. You know what I mean? When you're older. So to be in that ready position, ready to field, huge in older ones as well, you know?
In T-ball, probably the pitcher, most important. All right. Do they make them wear helmets at pitcher? No. All right, not anymore.
Only catcher.
Yep. Okay, because they are so close, and if they're not paying attention and they do rip one, they're going to get it. If you're in that ready position, then they've got a whole chance. All right, ground balls. All right, like I said, with our ground balls, we want to be in that ready position. We want our fingers pointing to the ground, and we want our hands out in front. We don't want to get it back here, because if we get it back here and we make that error, it's going to land between our legs, and then they've got to fumble around to try and pick it up to make the throw. So what we try and get them is we try and get them right out in front. So if it hits their glove or hits their body and comes down, it stays in front of them, and we get them what's called that second chance. All right, so every kid that I've ever coached, same thing, we talk about that second chance. All right, so they get it, have another shot to get that out at first base. All right, so we want to be out in front of the ball. We want our fingers pointing down. Again, we want to get nice and low. So it's not about bending our back over. It's about being athletic again and catching it out in front. Now, to make it kind of fun, and especially at the T-ball age, all right, we talk about that crocodile snap. All right, and it's literally just that. That's when that ball goes into that glove. We want them to snap their hand on top of it and grab that ball. All right, and again, you'll see throughout this, there's a couple of things that we talk about, and it's just relating back to being kids. You know, if you tell them, oh, I want you to funnel it and come up, they're gonna go, huh? You say, hey, I want you to crocodile snap this. Oh, yeah, that sounds fun. You know, something the Wiggles would have said, right? So then they're going to do the crocodile snap. So we go from that crocodile snap, ball is in our glove, all right? Again, they need to have bent legs, low bum to get right down, all right? Probably in line with that would be fielding the ball in the middle of our body, all right? You'll see kids, they'll be scared. They'll go to field it and they'll run around, or they'll just get out of the way of it because they're scared of it. Again, this comes to practice, whether you were using other balls or something like that, start off with to build their confidence. But it's about fielding the ball in the middle of that body, because if we can field it in the middle of that body, that does bounce off somewhere, we've got the chance of going and getting in front and having that second chance. But if they go out to the side and they miss it, it's going behind them, okay? So whatever we want to do, we want to move our feet, make sure the ball is in the middle of the body, okay?
Well, those little ones, I always, when we're beginners, again, relating, you got the crocodile snap and all that kind of stuff. Like I try and make everything sort of fun, you know what I mean? And a bit enjoyable and relatable to the kids. So I tell them when we're going side to side, I always say, let's act like a monkey, you know what I mean? I even will make the noises and stuff. I'll go, ooh, 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 ah, ah, like this, you know, and like make them laugh. They're all laughing. They think it's great, you know, but then it gets them moving for the ball, you know, like that. The things we teach them at this age aren't necessarily technically correct the way we're going to teach them when they're 15, 16 year old, but it teaches them to get past. And it's like Dan said, some of them are scared of the ball as well, you know, so just thinking about little drills and games you can create for them that make them understand that they want the ball in the middle of their body. So even without a glove, you can be all right one at a time and or have a goal or something, roll the ball, they've got to move and let the ball go through their legs, move over here, let the ball go through their legs, then bring the glove into it, you know what I mean? Just so that they understand that the ball in the middle of the body is like the key to stopping balls.
Yeah, like Matt just said, and I touched on it before, is everything that we do, we kind of relate it back to the kids to make it fun. So like, exactly, and everyone's going to be different. Find something that suits your kids. Do it once and go, what does that remind you of? You know, like my kids used to be a crab, you know, so we used to do crabs. They used to go this until they get over it and field it. Matt does the monkey thing. Like, it's whatever those kids relate to, run with it. Because if they think they've come up with it, they're going to remember it a lot more than you telling them what to do. All right. So once we've fielded the ball, ready position, athletic position, ball's out in front. We've got it. We've got that crocodile snap. All right. We've got to get from this position here into a throwing position. And then again, this is just something that relates to kids that we like to work with, especially at the younger. We talk about jumping on the surfboard, or jumping on a skateboard, or jumping on some kind of board. All right. So what it is pretty much they field the ball. Once they've got it, they're going to jump on the surfboard, and that gets them into that throwing position, they're side on. You'll see kids, like, they'll get it and they won't even move their feet. They'll step with one foot with their shoulders facing forward, or the one that I see all the time is throwing with the wrong foot. I had a game on the weekend and the two pitches actually threw like that. I've never seen it before. I've never seen it. They came like this, they pitched and they went. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but I had two pitches in the other team doing it. Anyway, so we want to get from that ready position where we've fielded the ball, and then we want to get into that throwing position, our body in that throwing position. So I like to say jump on the surfboard. As we get a bit older, probably at the age that you're working with now, I say replace our feet. Because you've got to field that ball, that left foot's going to be a little bit more in front. They're going to get it and they're going to replace their feet. All right, but for kids, they won't get that. So it's like, it's real stagnant what they're doing. It's not flowing, like replacing their feet. Literally just get them to field it, jump on the surfboard. All right. When they jump on that surfboard, then we want them to be aiming at their target. All right. So for real younger ones, we just say point your glove. All right. As they get a little bit older, we start using our elbow as a target because we're going to bring that arm in. But for the younger ones, we point and we have our hand up behind our head. All right.
That's jumping on the surfboard works really well. Dan brought that up like the first year we did this, and I always, like for nearly 20 years before that, have always gone through the pain of trying to teach young kids to go 1, 2, throw, right? Even when they're teeny tiny little ones. But when we did that short tracked us getting into this position, you know what I mean? And then what I did when I was your age in under 8s last year, I brought into it, we did this drill a few times with, you know, four cones around, and we make them work around the cones like that, 4 cones, replacing their feet. All right, go around and around the cones. So let me show you real quick. 4 cones like that. Okay, they're like this. Glove in here, boom, boom, no ball. Here, throwing position. All right, this teaches them to replace their feet. And again, throwing position. And then we take the cones away, take one of them away anyway, field the ball like this, and actually with the ball, and this will work for the big kids too, and actually throw it back to me. So it gets them moving their feet like that. Okay, I find that's a good progression from surfboard. Teach them that, and that'll get them replacing their feet as well. Stick with surfboard for you guys until you're under 8s, and then under 8s you can teach them this.
I find that with major boys as well. That simple fundamentals that they're forgetting to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe never been taught, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter how old you are. If you've never had a coach who knows, you know, like lots of us are just parents who've never played before. You know, we're not so blessed like in soccer. Anyone on the sideline can teach you how to play, you know what I mean? But in baseball, it's only a handful of people around who know how to teach the game. So it's, any age, it's never too late for fundamentals, you know?
So we've gone from that ready position, we've fielded the ball with the crocodile snap, we've jumped onto that surfboard, pointing at our target, and our hand behind our back, throwing hand behind our head. Now what we want to do, ideally you want to teach them right from the beginning is throw with a 4 seam. Everyone know what a 4 seam is? Yep, all right, throw them with a 4 seam if we can. It's hard, little kids, they'll just grab it with their whole hand. They've got tiny hands. All right, but as they get older, you really want to push having the 4 seam. Reason for that is the ball's going to go straighter. You know, once they get a bit of velocity, if it's not a 4 seam, it's going to tail off or something like that. All right, so we've got that 4 seam. We're pointing at our target. Now, what I tell my kids is so you can see my fingers, they're facing the back of my head. All right, a lot of them will just do that straight away. Straight away, they'll do that like a shot put, and their arm, they've got no rotation. So what we need to do is, because they're going to lead with their elbow, right? So they're pointing at their target, fingers pointing to the back of the head, and then they'll throw. Now, as they throw, because they're little kids and they've got no arm strength because they're being taught to throw for the first time, easiest way to get the ball to go straighter, to go faster, to go longer and quicker is to add a shuffle in. All right, so it's literally when they get to this point here and they're pointing, fingers are behind their head, they're gonna go shuffle, and then throw. Doing that shuffle keeps that glove foot in front and it stops them from doing that stepping with their throwing hand first. Okay, and again, you start this really slow. Start this really slow and work with it. So you might get them, you gotta go, right, crocodile snap. They don't need, everyone can be standing here like us. And you just go crocodile snap, then you'll go surfboard, and you go make sure their fingers are at the back of the head. Maybe shuffle, and then throw. Do it slow. Do it slower than that if need be, and then you get faster as they get it, Then you can introduce rolling the ball to them. But they're those keys. We want the crocodile snap, surfboard, pointing to the target, fingers behind our head, shuffle, throw. Okay. Even the ones like that even struggle to even throw it that again. As they get a bit older, you want to talk about that follow through, because again, if you follow through, it's got to go further again. So again, if you want to exaggerate that. So that here they've got to shuffle, throw, and get them to take a couple more steps. Again, we've got all these tools here that you can use. You might put like a couple of cones here and go righto. For instance, like Matt just had before. So that might get you into your shuffle. You want them to shuffle to here, and then you might say, righto, and then I want you to follow through between those cones. All right, obviously a little bit smaller for kids, but they're going to get it here. At a point, you go shuffle, throw, and get them to come between that cones. Then they're going in a nice straight line towards their target. All right, there's plenty of variations you can do with that. But again, you don't even have to go through, especially with T-ball, like those 3, 4, 5 steps, whatever I just said. You don't even have to go through all of them together. You might just spend one session on literally just going crocodile snap, jumping on the surfboard. If they don't get that, don't move on to the next thing. All right, even if it means like you might have to split your team up. Hopefully you've got more than one coach. Should have 4, hopefully, or helpers. If you've got 2 or 3 kids that know what they're doing, perfect. Get them. The rest of them, if they don't get that part there, don't get them shuffle, follow through, or they're going to do it all in the wrong order. Okay. Anyone got any questions so far on all that? Beautiful.
Just a thing for arm strengthening.
Yep.
What would you recommend with your arm strengthening?
Throwing. Just throw.
Short throws and then gradually increase that distance throw, not full.
Yep, especially the age that you're with.
Yeah.
As they get older, obviously we've got bands and Jaegers and stuff like that, which is invaluable. Like, use them as much as we can. Should be using them every day. But for T-ball on that, even Zuka, just throwing, and it's just gradually getting longer and longer.
Yeah, that's why I do a T with a softball on top. You just got focus on that. And you push that T further back.
Yep.
It's a game for them to
exactly.
hit that ball.
So that's,
exactly.
That's excellent. That's very good. So I'd say the best thing for anyone, any age, that you can do for baseball is to play catch at home. And I know you can't get everybody to do that. Man, people pay me to coach them, and I can't get my daughter to throw the ball with me out the back. You know, I mean, she can't catch, she can't hit. I would spend all day training her if she wanted to, but she just won't do it. But playing catch at home is the best thing anyone can do. Brother, sister, mum, dad, you know what I mean? Playing catch at home is the best. You can tell the kids who play catch at home and the kids who don't. All right, come and look at my team. You'll see my daughter, and then there's the other half of the team, and they can do it. You know, catching the ball is the hardest thing for kids to get. Hitting's easier than that. Throwing's easier than that. But catching, even for ground balls, are easier. Catching's the hardest, because not only, I'm no scientist, but just in things I've read and things over the year, not only is it the coordination thing, but like their eyes aren't developed and their depth perception isn't developed like us. You know what I mean? It looks easy to us, but it doesn't look the same to them. You know what I mean? It looks different, especially fly balls, right? So playing catch at home is just over and over repetition. And I would say as well, what I did with my little kids for arm strength, because they don't want to and they can't throw full pelt at each other because they can't catch it, they're going to hurt each other if they peg it, right? You take them back to a good distance where they can throw, put the hat down one side, right? The hat drill, okay? They put their hat down and then they go back an equal distance, and then I get them to, in a good throwing position, shuffle, throw hard as they can down at the hat. And then I always tell the other team, the other side too, that this is fielding practice for you. You're not allowed to let that ball get past you. So then we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm telling you, this works. Lockie, we did this till he was bloody 12 years old. You know, it's still a great warm-up drill, all right, because it's pulling down. We're working on pulling down, bending our back. Always tell them, I prefer you bounced it in front of the hat than over the hat. And the other person, as they get older and stronger, man, it's good ground ball practice. Like, you're getting some stinger ground balls coming at you when they're trying to throw hard down at the hat. You know what I mean? So that's a good drill for. But when you go back to the young kids, it slows down a lot before it gets to the other side. So they can peg it. They're pulling down hard, you know, so that's a good one for arm strength. But you're not going to get strong throwing once a week. You know what I mean? Yeah. We do our best, get them to try and throw hard, get them to exert themselves. That's how they're going to get stronger. But once a week, the kids who throw every day are going to be leagues ahead if they play at home, play catch at home. You know, so try and encourage that with your parents, as hard as that is. No, yeah. I don't think you've hit it yet. Josh.
Well, mate, with that, I might just touch on something a little bit different. When it comes to like at your trainings and at your warm-ups in regards to throwing, I call it like a Zuka warm-up, and I still do it. Like, we're second-year minors now on my young blokes team, and we still do this Zuka warm-up. Just because it gets more reps in, right? You can imagine if you have, like, you know, in seniors, right? We can all we can all throw. We can throw to each other. We know how to throw. We know how to catch in you know, in 5 minutes, you probably might have thrown the ball 15 times, right? And then with the kids, if you gave a kid a ball and said, right, throw to each other, and you've got 5 minutes to warm up for training, they're going to get thrown once. They're going to throw it over the head. They're not going to catch it. They're not going to do anything, right? So right up until literally I'm doing this with my 10-year-olds now, is I have 2 lines. I have 2 coaches, and they stand in their line, and I roll it to them. I roll it to them. They do all of this stuff that we just spoke about. They shuffle, throw it back, end of the line. You do that before you in your warm-up, depending how long you start before your game, or even starting your training session. You do that, and they will throw the ball like, I don't know, 30 times, as opposed to if you had 2 kids throw to each other, it might only happen 4 times. So I do ground balls, and then after ground balls, I throw to them, so they catch it, move their feet, throw it back, and then after that we move into fly balls. Obviously, it depends what level your kids are at. You might have T-ball kids that are fine, like able to play catch, and that's great. But if they don't waste time trying to do that, because you just, you know, before a game, you only got an hour, or sometimes, I don't know, T-ball turning up 15 minutes. Like, I don't know how long you've got these days, but there's not much time, you know. So, and again, it bugs me on the other team. So again, I'm using an example of the team I played on the weekend. We did our Zuka warm-up just so we could get through it. Kids could throw, no dramas. I watched the other team, couldn't play catch with each other. Balls were going over their heads, hitting the fence. I'm like, those kids are getting nothing out of this, absolutely nothing out of this. They're warming up for a game. Fair enough if you want to like spend the whole training session practicing it. So halfway through my season last year, I got my minors team to start doing that. I partnered them up, 2 guys that can throw and catch together, those two guys, people that are not going to get scared of throwing to each other, right? And that's what we did. But what I did is, like, you've probably all seen those kind of Japanese videos where like everything's perfect, right? So I'd have this row, and then they'd throw it, and then if everyone caught it, perfect. Then I'd say go, they throw it back. If someone missed it, everyone's got to wait, got to go get the ball. By the end of it, by about 6 or 7 weeks into it, these kids could throw, but they were great. With their own partners, they were great. Obviously, coming back this year with no training before the season, I've had to go back to the Zuka warm-up just to get them back into it. But again, that's where you have to know your team, you have to know your players, decide what's best to get the most out of them in the limited time that you guys have.
Yeah, and at T-ball, what I was saying, that hat drill, I'd use that as a drill. Like, you don't need to warm up every time. Like, that's one of the drills you'd work in. Whereas with now, in my older team, we do it every warm up, you know. Because like you said, at that age, you want to be controlling the warm up a bit more.
Yeah. Probably as they get a little bit older too, especially junior league. Is that your junior league? Is that what you said? Who's junior league? Hey?
Yeah, it is junior league. Yeah. Tell them, drill into them, play catch with intent. Yeah. All right, don't just go there and throw the ball. Like, move their feet, make sure they get it in the middle of the body. All right, you can do it with younger kids as well. Like, same thing. If you're rolling the ball or throwing the ball to them or whatever, don't get them doing this. Like, get them moving the ball middle of their body every single time. Again, that's how they're going to get their arm strength, is by playing catch. And again, if that's all they do and they only do it for that 45 minutes or an hour training session you have once a week, it's going to take a long time. So if you're going to do it properly. All right, any questions on throwing? No, with that. Catching the ball. All right, again, this is more for our first time kind of T-ballers. As you can see there, I've got 3 examples: pancake, hamburger, ice cream. Right, ice cream cone. They mean absolutely nothing to you guys, but they mean everything to my kids. And again, they named it. I was like, what does this remind you of? And one of the kids said, an ice cream cone. I have no idea how that reminded them of an ice cream cone, but they were like, yeah. And then I had 10 kids going, yeah, that's an ice cream cone. Like, all right, that's the ice cream cone. You know, if I just said to them, oh, we're going to catch an outfield ball, fingers pointed to the sky, they couldn't give a shit. But if I said, all right, now we're going to do the ice cream cone, and I was throwing fly balls to them and they're all underneath it like this, they did it. They repeated it back to me. They know what they've got to do. They remembered that. All right. So that ice cream cone one, again, with your kids, what does this remind you of? Right, whatever they say. They say a koala. It's a koala then, okay? Like, but that pretty much anything above the eyes, anything above the head, that's what we're doing. Put fingers pointed to the sky. We say this old thing about using 2 hands. I think for kids, it's more just to help them close the ball. As you get a bit older, it's to keep the ball from popping out. That old saying, 2 hands for beginners. But yeah, we want to have their hands behind it, catching it above their face, like an ice cream cone, apparently.
Right, then the next one we had was hamburger. Again, what did this remind you of? They said a hamburger. I can kind of get that one. It makes a bit more sense. That was a hamburger, so that's pretty much anything from the head to their waist. All right, usually that's your first base. So you're going to catch it. If you just play a catch, that's normally how you should catch it. Same thing, try and tell them, you want to catch it in the middle of their body. They're going to get scared, especially the kids, they jump out of the way of it. And you'll find most of them will put their hands like that. Even if they're coming to their face, they go like that. I don't know why, it's just a safety thing, but they always put their hands like that. So I kind of say, I split this into three, from the shoulders up, fingers are pointed up, and then from kind of your waist to your shoulders, we've got that hamburger one, and then anything below the waist was a pancake. Again, that's a pancake to them. I don't know, but they said pancake. All right, again, but I broke it down into three and said, righto, if it's from here down, if it's from here up, and it's from here up, they're the three different types. And I would make sure I'd be as close as Matt, and I'd be throwing it to them at those specific ones to get them to practice it. But again, ask them, what does this remind you of? Explain that from here up. Oh yeah, it's a koala, okay? You're gonna do a koala, everyone's gonna do a koala. All right, and then nice and soft, nice and easy. When we're doing that, don't just go using a baseball straight away or a T-ball or whatever we have. There's so many tools, all right? Like you've got your wiffle balls. Again, if they miss it, hits you in the face, laugh it off. They'll laugh it off. Your tennis balls are a good one. The only thing that worries me about tennis balls is they are really bouncy. All right, when they're playing catch with it and they bounce out of their glove, kids get the shits real quick because they didn't actually catch the ball. They did everything right. They could have had their hands here, hands like that, but it just bounced out of their glove and they think they've done the wrong thing. So that's the only thing that turns me off with tennis balls, but again, they don't hurt. You've got any type of squishy stress ball that you've got. Well, this one is my favorite, juggling balls. All right, they will not hurt. They're soft, you can throw them as high as you want, hit them in the face, it's not gonna matter. All right, they're smaller. Usually with T-ballers, they've all got brand new gloves. You find they're hard to close. They can't really close them, even when they use two hands, they can't really close them. This won't bounce out of their glove as much. All right, and it's smaller, they've got small T-ball gloves. If they get everything right, it's gonna get in there proper. If they miss it and it hits them, it doesn't matter. Okay, so juggling balls, just jump on eBay. I think like I bought like 12 of them for like $20 or something. I'll just keep them in my kit. They're really good, but they're obviously, all three of those drills are perfect. We just line them up. We'd have three coaches, we'd have three people, three lines, just doing it over and over and over again until they got that right.
They are so good. Like I pick up something every year from this even myself. And yeah, I went out and got, he showed us the juggling balls last year. I went out and bought some off Amazon. Yeah, they're gold for doing fly balls. Very, very good. And those foam balls too. If you can find them, you can get them on Amazon too. Not very good for business, this bloody Amazon, is it? Just use real baseballs, man. $12 baseballs. Yeah, like those foam balls, like we went and did an event, and some of you probably did as well, Funky Phil's bash ball out at Blacktown. And one thing I noticed from there, he used those foam balls, and I noticed that the kids were getting under, like in the big skyrocket balls, they were getting under them. They weren't catching them, so I bounced off their glove, but they were under it. Like I'm trying to get them to get under it for a long time, but they didn't care. They knew it wasn't going to hurt them, and they were getting under these balls and chasing these balls down, you know. So those foam balls are quite good as well for practicing fly balls. Very good. And then you can stretch them out. You can have some fun with it as well. Kids love it. Kids love to try and make a screaming catch. You know what I mean? And when you've got a soft ball or something, you can do your fundamentals, but then you can finish the section and the station with fun. You know what I mean? You can say, all right, I'm going to throw it over here, go get it. And they can try and go and make that screamer of a catch, you know? And they're learning to run down a ball at the same time. You just teach them, as you play games, you always want to try and layer in there the good fundamentals. So if you're saying we're going for that ball, tell them we run with our arms, we make the catch at the last minute. All right, like things like that to teach them the right things while they're having fun, you know, which is that's what it's all about. Trick them into learning.
Yeah, that's a big one for me. That's one that we'll touch on a bit later. But like, I know when you go to like you do your level A and you say all that stuff, and it's all about kids having fun. I get that, you know. For me, but like you can also have fun, but you can incorporate these fundamentals. So everything that I've just showed you here, turn it into a game. Turn everything into a game. Like you said, you put a tee down there with a ball on it. They've got it. If they do that, they shuffle. They've got to throw it. They've got to try and hit the ball off. You know, like I remember with my T-ball kids, like I'd have everyone lining up in one line, and there'd be one there, and I'd go, righto, go, and I just rapid fire, just trying to hit that ball off. But turn everything. If you turn everything into a game, you'll keep them more engaged. Anything else on ground balls, throwing, before we move on? No, catching, everyone's right with that? All right, like I said, I've just gone over everything that's here, but you take these over, have a bit of a read.
It's all two-handed catching when they're little.
Yep.
You kids, everything's two-handed because they can't squeeze their gloves.
Yeah.
You know, a good glove for a kid that age is one that'll stay open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they can't do it as long as it's a big open. But anyway, they do it. Two hands.
All right, hitting the ball. All right. Hitting the ball. For you guys doing tee ball, always set the tee up. I know you've probably got those other tees, but always set the tee up at the front of it like this. All right, don't. And I seen it when I was playing. You'd have other coaches and they'd come and do that. All right. One, that's not where we hit the ball, but two, it's more so the safety aspect of it. All right, if you got a runner on 3. All right, and you're the coach, you're also the umpire, you're also telling this kid what exactly to do, and they hit the ball and you get so excited because they've just hit the ball, they haven't hit the ball before, and then little Johnny's on third base running home, and you've picked the bat up or you forgot about the bat's in the way as well, and then that's there and we're trying to tell the kid to run home, and he runs straight into it. Okay, but if you do forget it, and it's out there like that, he can still run through nice and clean. All right, so as much as that's where we make contact with the ball anyway, just as a safety aspect, when you guys are doing T-ball, B-ball, keep the tee out in front like that for me. All right, and you should be aware that you got a runner on after he hits it. Go and get it, get the bat, get the tee, move it out of the way, let them come home, put it back. All right.
Instant success creates instant success. Putting it out there, you see so many teams that I play against put it on top of the plate. Like, think about it. You're trying to hit it here. You know what I mean? We want to hit the ball extension out in front, right? So it's a surefire way to have instant success for your kids and turn them into twice the hitters they are if you're hamstringing them by putting it on top of the plate. You'll see other teams do it. You'll see them do it out there because if you don't know baseball, it makes sense to put it on the plate, right? So it's not like they're stupid or anything. It's just makes sense. Out in front, 100%. If it's one of those folding tees, this one has a perfect spacer on it, right? But if it's a folding tee, you want it to be like 2 or 3 inches in front of the plate, right? That's where we want to make good contact with the ball up the middle.
All right, so with our hitters, we want to have a bit of a checklist. I'm going to jump forward a page there. But we have this bit of a checklist. Now, this is something that I drill into them at training, so when it comes to the game, they know the order and exactly what they need to do, okay? Now, what I used to do, once these kids knew exactly what they were doing, and you'd stand back, you'd be out of the way, or I'd probably, catch his air or whatever like that, and I'd kind of just give them those keys. Okay, right, what's first? And I'd go through that checklist with them, make sure they all do it. So I think I've got here, got hands together, the elbows up, bats near their ear, got to make some room, eyes on the ball, and then they swing. All right, and I'd get them, they would repeat that back to me. I'd be like, right, hands together, and they check, yep, hands, because you see kids hold the bat like that. I'll put their hand, they'll go hands together, and they'll do everything. As the season went on, and the kids get more confident with it, I'd just say, right, that's up to you. Like, all right, what are we going to do? You tell me, and I don't have to repeat it. And they would repeat all 5, 6, 7 steps back to me every single time. All right, so jumping back at the start there. All right, so with this, what we want to do, all right, ideally, you can imagine that there's the front of the plate there. We drew a line in the dirt. They go straight across each side. All right, I'm just going to push this over a little bit. Line in the dirt at the front of that plate there. Okay, that's where we want their front foot to line up with. So if we drew a line there, that's where we want their front foot. Okay, that way, if this was baseball and that was a middle pitch, that's where we're making contact right with it out in front. Okay, so for T-ball, and I'll get to a bit. I'll get to a bit older in a sec, what we change a little bit. But T-ball, we're starting there, okay? And I always just tell them, put their hands out, line the bat up with where they're comfortable with the ball. Can stay there. Okay, so if they put their hands out and they're like that, then you need them to shuffle back. All right, if they put their hands out and they're not there, then they've got to go a little bit closer. All right, so I just get them to do that. There's the old one where you put it up against their waist. And you make sure that ball's in the middle of the bat, but it's exactly the same thing wherever they're going to do that. You'll find kids they don't know how to lead with the knob of their bat, and they've got a really long swing. So that's why I don't mind for young T-ballers is to put their hands up like that, because that's how they're going to swing. As they get older, you want them to get a little bit closer so we can use our hits. All right, so we're lining that up. You'll probably find this bat's not a very good one for this, but every bat's got some writing on it. Might have Eastern, might have Reckon, whatever it's got on it, right? Line them up. So if they were using this bat here, this one guy, I'd say, righto, line the ball up with that white mark, and that's where they'll line up. And then I know when they swing, that's where they're hitting it. All right, so find that sweet spot on their bat. Go, yep, that E, I want you to line that E up, and then that's when they'll line it up. Okay. All right, now that you'll see in the diagram there, there's two lines. I've got one off the front of the plate and another one just off the inside of the back of the plate. Now, in a game, all right, this is so important. Just marking paint, just a can of marking paint. Keep that in your bag. Keep that in your kit. All right, for more than one reason. For this reason, all right, they go up to the plate and you tell them put their feet on the lines. They'll put their feet on the lines. You'll see so many kids, they'll go up and they'll stand like this, and you go, move your front foot. And they're like, here, and then you go, no, move it back. And then they're like this, and then you end up getting the shits, and you go down there and you get their foot, and you're like, and you do that, right? And then everyone's laughing, they think it's funny, and then the kid has one swing and the misses, and then they're back to here. Right, they're back to their completely wrong spot. Before I thought about this marking paint thing, I used to get my kids and I used to grab them on their ribs just there, and I'd pick them up and I'd just drop them. And when they landed, that's how they land. I'm like, don't move, now don't move. All right, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I started using marking paint. Before the game, I'd put 2 lines there, 2 lines there. And I'd say to my kids, righto, go up there, feet on the lines. And they'll put their feet on the lines, they'd line their bat up, and then they're ready to go. Simple, cannot be any more simple than that. You'd be surprised how many times the other team, I'd have to tell the coach, just tell your kid to go and put his foot on the line. Because the kids would still go up there, they didn't know what was going on. And he's going, move your foot, do this. I'm like, just tell him to put his feet on the lines. Just put your feet on the lines. And the kids will do this every single time. And then the next game, that coach has a marking paint in his hand. And then the game after that, the next coach has marking paint in their hand, all right? So that's perfect. Getting off track a little bit, but that marking paint, and I'll touch on it again later, but that marking paint is perfect for out in the field as well. All right, you can tell a kid, go stand at first base. I guarantee he goes there and stands on first base like this. Like, that's not where we field. Or shortstop, where the hell, they don't know where shortstop is. But if I go out there and draw an X, draw an X, draw an X, draw an X, even in the outfield, draw an X, because you tell them to go to left field, it's huge out there, they don't know where to go. Go and draw an X on the ground. Right, that marking paint is perfect. All right, and then they'll get out there, they'll find it, yep. And then they're standing in the exact spot. Perfect. Between that and my kids yelling out ready position was the difference for like 3 years. We might not have, well, not about winning, but we might not have scored more runs, but we looked like we were going to because we were ready and we were all standing in the right spot. I didn't have 2 kids standing 5 meters apart from each other. Okay. Anyway, so back to the hitting. The feet are on their lines. Again, we talked about being athletic, right? You don't want them too wide, don't want them too close. Same as our fielding. We want to be able to jump where they land, that's where they are. Hands up front. All right, hands together, okay? Hands together again. You'll see kids, they'll do this all the time. Get their hands together. If their hands together and the bat's too heavy, bat's too big for them, get them to choke up. Always move their hands up, you shouldn't really have to move them down. When their hands are together, the best way to make sure that our knuckles, like we used to say, line our knuckles up. All right, now what we tell them is the exact same thing. We tell them to point their fingers. So when they put the bat on their shoulder, point their fingers. See how my fingers are pointing up together? That means they're in the right spot. You'll see kids and they wrap it and they hold it right back in their palm. They'll put their fingers in it like that. They need to get their fingers up. All right, and again, it's funny, I still see kids now, like in my minors team and even Rhinos and academy stuff.
Kids in your team that do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important.
They get there. I've got one kid get there every time he goes at the bat. You see him do this, and he won't move until he gets this right, and then he goes. I love it. Like, I think, mate, you've been doing this for like 6 years with me. You should know just how to hold the bat, but he still gets in there and does this every single time. All right.
Still see 16s doing it, like just out of it.
Yeah.
Looking at it, they're just there. Yeah.
Yep.
What about Otani? Then he goes out there, lays his bat down for his distance, you know what I mean? Which is...
Yeah. All right, so hands together, fingers pointing up. Then we know they're holding the bat in their fingertips and not back in their palms. All right. Next thing we got there is their elbow up. All right. You'll see a lot of kids and they'll just have their elbows down like this. If their elbows are down, they're going to swing under it every single time. So we want them to have their elbows up, that back elbow up. Again, as they get older, things will change, but unless they can get into this load position, so like with your kids, they might be like this, but when they load, they need to be in that position. For T-ball, there's no loading or anything like that. We just want them ready like that already. So again, I tell kids there's a little Lego man on their elbow, don't let him fall off. Right, again, they'd love it. Like I was like, elbow up, yeah, Lego man, Lego man. But just remember that, right? So they're athletic, the knees are bent, hands are in the right position, fingers pointing forward, and our elbow is up, okay? Once our elbow is up, we have our bat near our ear. Now, I've got here bat near our ear, and again, these are things that I'm calling out to them, right? Bat near our ear, there's some kids, because they'll hold the bat out like this, or they'll wrap it right behind their head like that. So again, you want it to be on a 45-degree angle. Now, when you get into baseball and you've got a catcher, it's easy. You just tell them, knob of the bat faces the catcher. The face of the catcher going straight down to there. This bat's on a nice 45 behind the head. T-ball kids, the catcher's all the way over there. You got to tell them they're going to be like this. Okay, all right. So what we do is I just tell them to have their bat near their ear, and they just tap it. They just tap it, and it's then they know. Then I know if it taps that, and they move it back and give it a little bit of room, it's in the right position. Okay. So they tap their helmet, tap their bat near their ear, make some room, eyes on the ball. Again, you'll see T-balls like this, and then. And mum's in the crowd and goes, "Go Paulie!" They're like, "Yeah!" And then they swing and they miss, all right? So I tell them, once they're here, it's like eyes on the ball, and they're looking at the ball, looking at the ball, looking at the ball, all right? After eyes on the ball, then they're swinging, all right? They're swinging. Again, as you get a bit older, we'll introduce a 1, 2, 3, but for now, for T-ball, make contact. Just make contact for it. Next important thing after that is dropping the bat. T-ball kids, they'll hit it, throw it, it ends up in the next dugout. Umpire's caught one in the shins or something, or the coach has caught one in the shins. Again, simple, but this is something I used to practice at training. So like 3 or 4 steps up first baseline, I'd go there with my marking paint and I'd draw a circle. And I'd say to kids when we're doing batting practice at training, right, say they hit as many balls or whatever on the last one, they'd swing it, and as they started to run, they'd have to drop the bat in there. They do that, I'm telling you, like 20 times, and then they'll just do it every time then. Every time. I joke around with kids and go, "I'm going to duct tape your hands," because they'd let go of it and throw the bat all the time. And then into a game, like I had to go into a game where I had one kid, and I'd draw that on the ground. Coach is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "If you're going to stand there, trust me, you need me to draw this circle." And as soon as I'd done that, he hit it, and we're like, bat, and he'd like drop it, and it was like it was glass, like he'd like, ugh, and then he'd start running. But the poor T-ball catcher didn't caught one in the shins. So yeah, it's really important to make sure that they drop that bat. Just before I go with that, so just with you, Scooby, with those older ones, and you can't, as T-ballers come up, we've got this drill called the 1, 2, 3 drill, all right? And you'll see kids, and then they'll swing, and they haven't used their hips, and then the only reason their hips come around is because their hands have thrown them back. All right, so I do this 1, 2, 3 drill, where 1 is where we load, so we get them ready. So even with T-ball, if you really wanted to, as they get to like under 8, finishing under 8s, I'll do everything, they'll line up, all right? Then we say 1, and they load, everything, elbows up, back to the right position, weight 75% back, we're ready to hit. And then 2 is just our hips, so we go boom as hard as we can, just turning our hips, leaving everything back as far as possible. And then when we say 3, then they swing. And I start that really slow, like as slow as I just said then. It'll be 1, 2, 3, put the ball on. And then, because so many kids, they get there, they swing, and then their hips go. All the power from hitting comes from your hips, all right? So you got to break it down into 1, 2, 3, get them out of that 1, 3, 2. And it really happens from coming from that T-ball up to Zuka. But that drill, if you do that drill, and then you get faster and faster. So you might have a bucket of 30 balls, and the first 5 balls are that slow. Then the next 5 balls are a little bit faster, and you just yell it out, and they don't do anything until you say that number. Okay, but it makes a huge difference. Like we've been doing that. I've been doing that with some older T-ball kids, right up to the academy kids that we've been having here. Like we're up to the 16-year-olds. We've been doing that drill.
let me touch on some of the quick wins that I have with the T-ballers, right, in particular. So the first thing I want to do, like, stance is so important, right? Getting them to start in the right position is just so important. Good, strong stance, elbow up as well, because it's important as they get on through the years, right, that they start from here. Starting from a good, strong stance, having your hands in the right position, and what makes a big difference to them being able to hit the ball. Like, it makes a huge difference. So really focus on what Dan said with the stance and trying to get them in. I'd say from the second half of the year in T-ball, you want to start getting them here. When they first start and they're just walking up to a game and they've never played before, they just got to sort of do a little bit of this and then try and hit it the best they can. But you want to, at training, be teaching them to be starting a stance and just, you can start flat-footed if you want, but then if you can go up, down, hit, the earlier you can start that, the better, all right? The second thing, and one of the best things to get a good swing into the kids and get them to hit harder as quickly as possible. Let me use you. I'll use him every year. He knows what's coming. Right? I always stand, and I do this trick, right? If you've ever worked with me, like these boys would have seen me do it when I'm sizing kids up for bats, and if I see them and they can't swing properly, I get them swing properly first so I can size them up properly. All right? So I'll stand behind them. I tell them, look, the knob of the bat, I want you to focus on the knob of the bat. And I want you to look at the picture. I tell him that, see that gap in the concrete up there, straight in front of you, all right? I just think about the knob of the bat, and I want you, from your hitting position, to pull that knob of the bat as hard as you can, straight towards the pitcher or straight towards what I'm pointing at. And I just tell them, go, pull it. And I'm like, going harder. And I make them just strain as hard as they can. I'm like, oh, okay, stop, you're gonna pull me over. Everybody laughs, we're having a great time, all right? But then I say to them, okay, you see that feeling you just had of pulling that out of my hands, all right? I want you to do that when you swing now. And then they go, bang, and they swing. And because every little kid starts with a long swing. They think it's a long swing. I'm not just little kids, I'm telling you. Bigger kids, well, they've never been shown, all right? Constantly getting out because they got this bloody long swing, all right? The quicker we can get that short swing out of them and we can get them to feel what we want them to do, to pull that bat out of your hands, I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. You start doing it with your kids as well, I'm telling you, man, they'll start pulling that bat, shorten up their swing, and then they can start standing where they're supposed to stand as well, you know. The last one as well, very simple, you probably all heard it before, but you can have a good swing, you can have good timing, you can have everything perfect, but if you don't watch the ball, you're not going to hit it, all right? That's in flight and that's off the tee as well. So your eyes are the most important thing in everything you do in life. So I always get them to just focus on a very small thing, usually a stitch. If there's just like you said, we want to hit on different parts of the bat, I say, let's pick something. See that one? All right, that one there, we're just going to hit the one, nothing else. All right, and we face it back like this. And you see them, and then eventually as the season goes on, they go up and they know what they want to hit, and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to put the one there like this. And then if they're playing catcher, they'll be like, oh, just wait, mate. I'll fix the ball up for you, you know, and they put the thing facing back that they want them to hit because it's usually like the same logo or something that we hit, or just a stitch. But get them to just focus on hitting that one little thing in the ball, and they will keep their head down and look at it, okay? So they're the three things that I think are real quick wins that give you good success for young kids.
Before I move on, just on that one there, so I explained to you the best way to line up, whether it's like that or arms out or whatever for T-ball. When we get to Zuka and older, all right, we want to be in that position. So again, the same thing, we want to pretend that there's those lines going out there, all right, out each side. That's where their front foot's going to be. All right, again, they're going to be athletic. Now, you'll see kids when they're throwing a little bit hard, you know, they might be too far away from the plate, or you'll have kids that just don't understand and they're crowding the plate. So we need to make sure that with the bat we're using, we're the right distance away to make sure that when we swing, we're covering that entire strike zone. So one way that I've worked out to do it is no matter what bat it is, so I'm just going to use this bat, my front foot's lined up with the front of the plate, and my bat's out straight touching that front corner. So you can see how my bat's in a straight line and my arm's straight line. All right, now I know I'm far enough away. All right, if I'm too far away, we're not straight anymore, and if I'm too close, we're not straight. All right, so when I do that and I know I come to here, I can get every single part of that plate. Okay, and the reason I know is because when I drop the bat, you see when it landed about there. All right, so that ball right on the outside of the plate, right to the inside of the plate, I've got covered with that bat. All right, And the reason why I want them to start here is because we've got so much batter's box there and we've got so much batter's box back here. So if we've got a pitcher that's a little bit slower, we've got room to move forward. We can move forward if we need to get onto it a bit quicker. If we've got someone that's throwing a little bit of gas and we need to, we can move back in the box. But if that's our starting point every single time, until we see a pitch, then we know we can adjust from there. Okay?
And good, just another easy one too. If you don't know where to make them stand, right, this is a really good trick too. You put the bat like that across the plate, lined up with the outside, and where the end of the bat is where their toe should be, right? And that'll put you in a good position to cover the plate as well, right? Just for a simple way to get them in the right spot if you're not sure on where to get them to stand.
All right. Any questions on hitting? Anything you want to know? Guys are hitting? No, pretty straightforward. Beautiful. All right, next thing we got there is base running. Now, base running, I don't know where to start and finish with base running, but as for T-ball, again, we want them to make contact and we want them to run first. All right, the most important thing is make sure we're dropping that bat. Keep practicing, put some cones there, put mark and paint, whatever we need to do, we need to get it there. Base running, every year from T-ball right up to my minors at the moment, we finish every training session with base running. Every single session. All right. They might be bored or something. They're like, oh, we did this last week, we did this the week before. Guarantee at the game, they still stuff it up. All right. Base running is important. All right. There's so many things to it that you can add to it. Again, like anything that we've done, if you're explaining something and they get to a point and they can't get it, don't move on to the next thing. If it means training next week, we go back to doing that exact same thing, go back to that exact same thing. If you skip a step, you're going to end up with kids that end up doing 1-3-2s. All right, so make sure you progress. And again, that's just going to be up to you to decide based on the level of kids you've got, the age of the kids, or stuff like that.
Use your warm-up to do base running. Like when I was T-ball, I've only just stopped doing it this year, but right up for the last 3 years, everyone knows warm-up, we line up at home plate. And we practice running through first base, all right, and then we practice running the second, and then we do a couple of laps all the way. And my kids all know how to run bases by the time they're halfway through under sevens, you know what I mean? So use it as your warm-up. You might as well, you've got to warm up anyway, so teach them something while you're doing it.
And like you said, again, we're turning those games into fundamental fun, right? So like, if we're running the first base, we can run through first base. So we're going to run through first base. Like as you get older, you're going to talk about checking the ball, checking where it is, you know, that ball-base ball thing, touching what part of the base, where to look, all that stuff. But for T-ballers, we're just running straight through first base. All right, but then you got to tell them second and third, they've got to stop on it. All right, so same thing. It might be the drills that you're doing at training. Make it fun. You know, you might say, righto, you're all going to line up, I'm going to tell you a different number, you know, and you'll say, go. And I'll go 1, and then they run through first base, and as soon as they touch the base, I go 3, and then they've got to run to 3. You know, make it a game, and they've got to change based on what you've told them is what they do. So they know if they get to second, they've got to stop. If they get to third, they've got to stop. If they go to first, they've got to go through. If they go home, then they run and they go through home, all the way through home. Don't get them to stop on home plate. All right, so you can make games of it based on those fundamentals.
In our first year, a good game, like particularly for you guys, to learn what the bases are, is just run around the base and sing out what they are as they go around. First base! And I say, I can't hear. And I say that a lot because I want them to yell. The more they yell, the more they're going to really sink in, you know. Second base! You know, like just get them to yell it as they go around. It's a good way for them to learn. Not only for base running, but when you say, go play second base, go play first base. Like they've got to learn where the different ones are, yeah.
Any other questions on base running? Get started. Again, you can make things up on the run. Base running is really simple. All right.
So if you're doing the base running, then you go
yep.
1.
Yep.
And then the next one's 3.
Yep.
1 is on first base, and so you can see coming back.
Yeah, he comes back. He comes.
Yep. And then you run third.
Yep. And then try him when he comes up again. Give him a different number. Yeah. Yep. But again, that's just getting them to think as well. You could go, righto, everyone's going to 1. They all go to 1. All right. Then the next one, they might all go to 2. Then the next one, they might all go 3. Then the last one, they might go home run. And then you go, righto, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to tell you. So you might tell them, you might go. If you're going to do this, actually, let me add this. If you're going to do this and you do base running, again, that fundamental thing, it's easy. You can get them just to start here and run. All right. If you're doing a warm up and that's probably what you do. If you're doing it as an actual drill, get them to swing. Get them to swing. They don't even put a wiffle ball on there. All right. Get them to swing. Make sure they drop their bat and then they run. All right. Add those things into it. Little things, and like it might take another 5 seconds, but yeah, you could go. You can change it by. You might be standing behind them, and you go, all right, swing, and then once they hit it, then you yell it out. All right, because again, in a game, they don't know where they're running until the ball's actually gone. So you might go, they've hit it, they've taken 3 steps, and then you go 1, and then they know to run the 1. All right, and then as they get a little bit advanced, like I do it with my minors, I'm out at like shortstop or third base, and I'll put the hands up. You know, so once they hit the ball, they've got to look where the ball goes. So if I got one hand up, then they'll yell out, they'll go 1, and they know they're running through 1. You know, if they look at me and I've got 2 hands up, they'll go 2, and they know they've got to make an arc and they've got to go to 2. Or I'll have different coloured cones. Like I'll have 2 different colours, a yellow and a red one or something, and I'll just flash it or something like that to look. Again, that's as they get a little bit older and a little bit more advanced. Once they get all that basic stuff done, you can get onto that. Training plans. We're going to skip that because we don't have the TV set up, but Red's going to send you, he's going to email you everything. And it's got training plans. It's got a couple of different training plans, and you've added some more stuff to it. Got some video links and stuff of stuff that Matt's done in here. So yeah, there's more. I think you're saying to me now there's more than we've ever had in regards to info that we're sending you guys afterwards. So you can go through that.
And we're working on as well, like Daniel and I, we're working on recording some of our drills that we do and stuff like that, and putting it onto YouTube, right? Not because we want to be YouTube famous, but because we're trying to help, like, so we can talk to you here, but like we can reach a lot more people. I can say to you, go on YouTube, look on our resources. So I've had like international guys come in here, we get them to do videos, you know, Dan's done some videos, I do some videos, real basic stuff, you know what I mean? So if you look at RBI Australia on YouTube, you'll see heaps of gear that we put up there. Lots of drills you can do. You'll guarantee you'll find something to do at training, you know, like there's plenty of stuff for you to do.
All right, coaching tips. We'll run through this.
Sorry. Still talking about training plans. So
you want to?
Yeah, talk a bit about how to structure a training session and that too still.
So in regards to our training plans, again, it's going to differ from whether we're B-ball or whether we're junior league or whatever. Be prepared. Be prepared. Like even right now, for every single training session, whether I'm in here doing an academy, I've got my minors kids, or we're doing a SWAS academy, I've got everything printed out. All right, that's just me. I have everything printed out. Everyone's got all my coaches, all my parents, everyone's got a copy. Everyone knows what we're going to do. All right, there's nothing worse than getting there and the kids are ready to go, and you're like, all right, we're going to, you know, because if you don't know what's going on, the kids aren't going to know what's going on. So you've got to have a game plan. Pardon me. I have everything down to like the minute. Like we are arriving at 4:50, we're running at 5, we're stretching at 5:05. Like I have everything like that. And again, 90% of the time I stick to it. But again, if we get to drills and the kids aren't actually doing it correctly, the next thing can wait. We're going to keep doing that one. But I've got to have a game plan. I've got to have a plan, and everyone else needs to know what's going on as well. All right, so my 2 assistants, again, they get sent the day before, they know what we're doing. While the kids, when we get there and we've got 10 minutes, the kids are there and they're putting the cleats on and whatever, we talk about it. This is what we're going to do. So as soon as it comes time to go, righto, you're taking that group, I'm taking that group. In regards to that too, our training plans is making sure we've got the right equipment for what we're doing. All right, if you're going to do hitting and you want 4 kids to hit, make sure you got 4 tees. All right, so same thing at the top of my thing, it says like what we're doing, and it says equipment, and I need 20 balls, I need 2 buckets, I need a dozen cones, I need this, I need that. So I've got everything prepared. Okay. Is there anything you want to add to training plan stuff?
Yeah, just as a basic overview of how I structure training session. So I've always got warm up, then I've got 3 drills, and then I've got a game at the end. I always have a game for a carrot at the end for the kids, and the game is something that practices fundamentals as well. It's not just duck, duck, goose, you know. So my warm-up, which will incorporate something learning. So let's say I'm coaching a T-ball team. It's going to be running the bases, all right? And we're talking about how to run the bases. Run through first, okay? Round, put a cone there so they go around to go to second, all right? We're doing the fundamentals as we warm up as well. Then I'll have 3 groups, and we'll talk about putting together your coaching team and that in a minute. But like, if you come with a plan, like Dan was saying, it allows you to use anybody as well, right? You don't have to, because not everybody, pretty much nobody almost, is blessed with 2 or 3 assistants that have all played baseball before, or even if they've played before, have ever coached before, you know. So if you can utilize just the parents or somebody in your team, you make it so much easier if you've got a plan. And it's all right. We've always got 3 drills. I will explain to everybody at the start, all right, this is what we're going to do at this drill, this is what we do at this drill, this is what we're going to do at this drill. And then parent who's never played before, all they've got to do is roll the balls, all right? They'll say, all right, they're going to start at this cone, they're going to run over to this cone. I want you to roll it in the middle. As they're running past, they're going to pick it up, go over here, put it in the bucket, and go around the back, okay? All they got to do. It's just a parent. Anyone can do that. Just roll the ball, roll the ball. Over here, you might be doing fly balls. Okay, all right, you throw fly balls to the kids. They grab it, they go, they put it in a bucket. Okay, at the end. Having a lot of balls, you know what I mean, which is great for business, right? Buy heaps of balls, everybody needs a couple of buckets of balls. But having lots of gear, lots of balls helps. Tennis balls are good too. And empty buckets as well, which you just get from Bunnings, cheap from Bunnings. You know, having empty buckets for them, because you got to think about how many reps you want to get through with things as well. Half of the drills I do, the kids don't even throw back to me. They do the throwing program at the start of my training session, and then half of the drills we do don't even throw. They just put a ball in the bucket, because I can, instead of them throwing it, goes past me, we've got to chase it, they've got to run after the ball, whatever. If we just, all right, here's a ground ball, use correct technique, throw it in the bucket, end of the line. I can be going ground ball, next, ground ball, next, ground ball, next. I can get through 3 or 4 kids doing ground balls in 10 seconds rather than 1 every 10 seconds, you know. So we're doing 3 or 4 more reps, okay. Even like hitting, like you said, I always have a hitting station at training. I think in my teams, I always want to hit every single station, okay, because it's half of the game, right? So I have, when it was T-ball, I'd have 3 or 4 tees, depending on how many players I got. So 4, I've usually got 12 players. And then I've just got a parent there, they've all got helmets on, and I tell my parent, all right, and the kids know the drill after the first couple of times telling them. I say, everyone swings at the same time. You say play ball, they all hit at the same time. They all put the ball on the same time. They get ready, and then you say play ball again. That way, no one's running all over the place, swinging while this guy's picking the ball up. It still happens a little bit. That's why I got helmets on. But, you know, that way one parent doesn't even know nothing about it, can control 3 or 4 kids, you know, hitting at the same time, rather than having to have one. If you've got more sitting there, get them to help you, especially with the batting station. If you ever got more parents, put them on the batting station to help there, because it makes it so much easier. So having a plan and having a structure that you always work to makes it so much easier. And then the game at the end, like for example, so many games you can play. Just gamify anything you can think of to try and teach them something. So base running, you want to teach them base running or learn base running, or even have fun while you teach them the fundamentals at your age. Line half the team up at second, line half the team up at home plate, and it's a relay race until one team catches the other. All right, you've done that until you're almost throwing up. All right, so you get fit. I'll throw some coaches on first and third and stand on the base so that they can't get anything but the corner. Going like this even when they get older, so they've got to lean over when they're going around. You know what I mean? So we're talking about fundamentals as they're going around. I'm always watching them and I'm saying, hey, make sure you hit the inside corner of the base, you know, get out, lean over. We're talking about doing the right things, but it's a great game. They keep going, it's fitness, it's base running, and it works from Aussie T-ball right through to senior league, you know what I mean? Like, you can do it. It teaches the kids to go around in the right way and touch all the bases, touching all the bases. If they don't touch the bases, they've got to go back. I'm telling you, they don't want to do that more than a couple of times, you know, when they're learning. You know, all game, baseball, soccer, you know, all kinds of games you can play set up a soccer field, they've got to roll it to each other. They can't move. It's more like baseball, netball, probably. Can't move once they get the ball, they've got to pass it to each other, I use a soft foam ball, one of those foam balls, because a lot of them tend to hold onto a bit and it goes up. You know what I mean? You've got to say keep it below the waist. Introduce rules as you go along to keep it safe, but always have a game at the end. Might be backwards baseball. So many different things we do, but it's always a carrot at the end, especially for the younger ones, because like if you're good, we'll play a game. All right, so it's always a warm-up, 3-station rotation, then a game at the end, and that's a good hour or an hour and a half. You spend longer on it when you're bigger. All right, that's a good way to structure your training sessions, but always have a plan, because then you can get anyone to help you. I think that's it on that.
Sweet. All right, coaching tips. Now all of this we've kind of touched on. We'll just brush over it again. So make trainings and game days fun and connect on their level. So by that, like I said, anything, introduce any games as long as we're basing it around the fundamentals. One thing that I know kids love, and I hate it, is bull rush. Kids love I reckon for a whole season I had my kids every training session, bull rush, play bull rush. They want to do that at the start, they want to do it at the end. It always ends up in tears. For me it does. I've always got one kid that just takes it too far and head clashes with another kid. But again, it's fun, kids love it. Is there any fundamentals in it? Probably not. So I steer away from those kinds of things, and but again, whatever suits your team, whatever the kids, keeps those kids engaged.
So my kids love bull rush too. We call it the tagging game. All right, we use balls and we teach them how to tag. So so it's bull rush just like normal. Everyone knows how to play bull rush, right? But I control it as the coach. I say go, and I tell people to run. So they're all running in the one direction, and whoever's in has the ball. All right, and I teach them you've got to tag with 2 hands. Doesn't count unless you tag with 2 hands. All right, because we're trying to teach them the fundamentals of tagging with 2 hands. You get tagged, you get a ball. You get tagged, you get a ball. Someone's got a bucket of balls, given them until everyone's in, trying to tag with 2 hands. All right, so we turn a game they love into something that's going to teach them fundamentals. I'll tell you, my team's pretty good at tagging in the game. They don't forget, with 2 hands.
Have a Player of the Week trophy and encourage skill-based learning. So everyone should have their RBI awards. Everyone should get them. Each year I have a different trophy. This year I've got this big stupid thing, swag chain thing, and I got it from Canada. It's pretty cool. Kids love it. Last year I had a golden glove. Year before I had a big championship ring. Just Amazon, eBay, Etsy, whatever it is. The kids, they froth over it. And again, at the end of the game, when we're having our coaches chat, they all want to know who got it.
That ready position thing that he spoke about is so effective that I had an award just for that every game in T-ball. So it's like I have my RBI Player of the Week award, and then I have a chain, like a Blue Sox chain we've got, and it's like whoever does best ready position today, I'm going to be watching, and man, you watch them, you should see them. They're all like, did you see me say it that time? You know what I mean? Like that. So this is the play of the day chain, I say, and it's whoever's got best ready position. Or if I want to focus on something else, if I want to say who's got the best communication today, who's doing the best cheering on the bench today, that's what this award is for today. But it's generally for ready position because that's so important. Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, I only learned it a couple of years ago.
Be prepared, have a training plan each week, which we just touched on, and also use a lineup. So you'll see on the back page there's an example of a lineup. Whiteboards are pretty easy. Coach can have a whiteboard and it has that on it. For T-ball, the old thing is just having a marker, writing their numbers on their hand so they know what order they're in. Having somebody, I'll touch on that in a second, but having someone to keep them in the right order and the dugout intact is a massive help, but I'll get to that in a second. So with this, with that lineup, I'd have that. Again, I don't write my lineup on the day, I'll write it the day before, even 2 days before, as long as I know what kids are coming. I write my lineup. I've got it printed out exactly like this. All my coaches have it printed out like this. So then when they come off after batting, and you've got 9 kids going there, where am I? And everyone's trying to look at this little whiteboard. Every coach has got 3 kids, righto, you go here, you go here, you go here. Everyone knows what's going on. Having that lineup too, it's a good way to track who's played where. Pardon me, who's played where, what positions, especially T-ball, you want to spread it around, spread the love every game, every inning even, and bench time. All right, I guarantee every single one of you will have some parent that says my kid's been on the bench already, and you can just go, hold on, so's every other kid. Like, you know, not that you want to shove it in their face, but as a coach, you want to know that you're giving everyone a fair go, right? Use team connecting apps to communicate with parents. Big on these days is just WhatsApp. Everyone has WhatsApp groups. You've got Messenger. I use an app called Heyjar or Heyjar. I love it. It's just, it puts up there every training session, every game, the results, who we're playing. Coaches can talk to themselves about parents. Parents can talk to each other. It's a free app. It's easy. Like I've been using it for years now. But again, there's heaps out there. If you just Google like free team communication app. But definitely have something. Have something so everyone knows, everyone's on the same page.
And he says, hey, and that, and not like Facebook Messenger, because not everyone has that. And it also means you've got to be in their personal space, you know what I mean? If it's a, like WhatsApp can be on any phone, Heyjar can be on any phone, okay? And it's separate from your sort of social media and stuff like that. And just to touch back on, just to reiterate what he said with the lineups, how important is you will see that to have them printed or written up, printed preferably like for each coach. We'll talk about later, like you want to have a team of 4 for each team. Have 4 copies, like so everyone can get those kids out, because that takes the longest. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Biggest difference between an organised team and an unorganised team is how quick they can get on and off. And that's what wastes the most time in the middle of a game. Nothing kills the fun of a game more than waiting for the other team to get out there. You know, like, so have them printed out, 1 for each coach, so everyone can grab a few kids and take them out straight away. Boom, we're done. We're off and playing again.
I found that just with T-ball the other day,
Yeah.
Yeah. This time when you all come in play, same thing. Kids would go back to 7 we were right.
Yep.
Yep.
Go back to it. Then after that, I'll change. And then getting not getting high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I through T-ball, I change them every single inning, but because everyone knows what's going, boom, we're out there, we're done. Everyone changes it. And I have a rotation, like I'm a bit different to Dan. I have for T-ball, it's different now that I'm playing competitive, because I need to match up. I want to match up stronger lineups for stronger teams, and the more weaker kids, for lack of a better term, against the weaker teams, for not only because we'll be more competitive, you know, because winning's part of the game as well now, but also safety reasons. You know, I don't want to put my brand new kid in pitcher feeding the Zuka against a team that I know is going to be slamming the ball straight back at him every time. I want a kid there who can defend themselves and catch the ball. You know, so it's a bit different now, but with T-ball, I have the whole season planned out. You know, I have the whole season planned out. I have it A to columns along the time, different lineups. They change every time, all the way through 8 or whatever it is until everybody's played every position. Then I just rotate through that, because it doesn't matter who plays where each week. And then that way, anyone want to know where we've played, I'll show you. Like, it's here. I've got it all planned out the whole season. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Utilise other coaches and parents as much as possible. Again, we'll touch on, right at the end, I'll touch on how many coaches that you should have, but especially at training, the more parents you can have, the better. Especially at T-ball, again, most T-ball coaches are just dads that have had to put their hand up, or mums as well. Everyone can do something. If you've got a training plan, and you know, righto, we're going to do this group's going to do ground balls, this group's going to do fly balls. You know, little Johnny's dad comes over and says, hey mate, I just want you to roll balls to them for 10 minutes. Get them to help. Especially like with T-ball, if you can break them into smaller groups, don't just have one line with 9 kids in it. A, they're not getting as much done, and they're standing around, and it's easy for them to get preoccupied somewhere else, you know. But if you have every groups of 3, you know, then they're getting more reps in nice and quick. So have mums and dads help as much as possible. You know, when it comes, I was going to say, when it comes to game days, you're going to need umpires, you're going to need someone in the dugout. So yeah, if a parent puts their hand up, don't say no. Find something for them to do. Whether it's filling water bottles up, you know, getting red frogs from the can at the end of the game, find something for them to do.
This day and age, you've got to have working with children checks. So like, I just tell everyone at the start of the season, like, give me a working with children check. Don't give me a working with children check. That way everyone can help me. If I need you, everyone can help me. And that's a good way to weed out who really, really doesn't want to help as well. If you can, it's like getting blood out of a stone trying to get their working with children check. It's either you really don't, maybe you don't want them helping you, or they don't want to be helping you. So yeah, just get that out of the way. Get them all to give it into you.
Use clear and effective communication to your players and their families. Again, do it right from the start. From the time you meet them, righto, I'm the coach, this is my assistant, this is this. I need help. I need you to help me here, I need you to help me there. This is what we do at training, this is what we do games, this is what we do game day, this is what time we get there, this is what we're going to do after the game. I want you to turn up wearing this. I want, just tell them everything. You can't tell them too much information. And again, if someone's thinking about it, someone asks a question, there's 10 other people thinking about it. But if you can have clear and effective communication, it's going to make your season so much better, so much easier.
Yeah, get out in front of it. And it's hard, particularly probably for you, Lockie, than anyone else here, because you're a young bloke and you've got to deal with some of the people you deal with probably look like bloody squibby over there, like trolls. But you, every time you do it, the easier it gets. You know what I mean? Like it's, you just got to get out there, you work out what you want to do, you communicate up front, you get everything out there, you tell everybody at the start of the season, all right, this is our responsibilities, we've got to do canteen duty, we might have to do fundraising, we're going to share it around, this is how I'm doing it. Just set the way you want to do things and just get out in front of it and tell everybody. All right, and communication as well will come to when we're trying to set up our coaching as well. But yeah, communication is key. All right, don't ever hold anything back. Just get it out there and talk to people, because if you leave them guessing, they make up their own mind. All right, so just tell them what you want them to know and what you want them to think and how you want them to think.
Promote fair play by changing the batting order each week and positions each inning. So that was that example again. But like you said, you might want to go 2 innings, you might want to go half a game. Like it just depends on the age of the kids, the skill level of the kids, what you want them to be learning. Again, you could have a kid, you might change that every single inning, and that kid might not get the ball in 6 games because every position you've changed him to, the ball doesn't go there. Yeah. But if you give him a better opportunity of going 2 innings in a row or 3 innings in a row, there might be a better chance. Especially in T-ball, catcher, pitcher, first base, they're the ones that get the ball, the main, right? So you want to give everyone those 3 ones. Use a marker, each numbers on their hands, their batting order, that old T-ball one. Use marking paint on the field. Again, positions before the game starts, go and put it there. Go and do it at the plate. The other coach says, what are you doing? Just tell them, say, trust me. Trust me, you kids will want this. But again, and then at trainings, if you don't want to keep putting marks out in the field, just put cones out everywhere, and then sooner or later they'll remember where to go. But I always put the marks down for hitting. Talk to your players when they're batting to remind them of their checklists. Checklist that I've written in there, again, doesn't have to be exactly the same. That just worked for me. You can change that to suit. But again, you put the ball on the tee, you kind of go to the side. I'd get them to repeat it back to me, and then 6-7 games in, I don't even have to repeat it. They know exactly what they need to do. They do their checklist, they do everything right, give themselves the best opportunity to hit the ball.
And you want to be, while they're playing T-ball, you want to be right on top of them for this, because once the ball starts getting pitched or it's ball in flight, you want to be the opposite. You don't want to be giving them instructions. Right? So you want them to know this stuff like now before they get there, so that when that kind of basic stuff and setup and all that kind of stuff is covered and it's good, and hopefully by the second half of under 8s, you can be just sort of standing at third base, getting them used to you being at third with not too many instructions. Okay, so really nail it down when they're young.
Use call and response throughout trainings and games. I guess the biggest thing. It's the best. It really is. It gets them thinking about it and they're repeating it back. So like with my kids, when we got to training this afternoon, I said, righto, what are we going to do first? And they're like, we're going to go for a run. I was like, righto, we're going to go for a run. What are we going to run as? And they know we're going to run as a team. They all say it back to me. We're going to run as a team. All right. If you're the first in the team, what do you need to do? I say slow down. If you're at the end of the team, what do you need to do? You need to speed up. Keep them as a team. Righto, when we get back, what are we going to do? We're going to do our run-throughs. Righto, after we do our run-throughs, what are we going to do? We're going to do our stretches. All right, who's going to do the stretches? The leader's going to do the stretches. They know. They just repeat that back to me every single time. But that call and response is, like I said, if you're the umpire / coach there, and you're telling them, righto, hands up, yep, hands up. feet together, hands together, whatever. Just get them to say back. Ready position, biggest one. You know, if your leader's not saying it, just yell it out. If you say ready position, they've all got to yell out ready position. Okay, but call a response just gets them to. It's just a reminder for them what they need to do. Keep all players interested and attentive. That goes pretty much hand in hand with that one. If you do see a kid, you'll see a kid. You'll have a kid out in right field and he's picking clovers up or something like that. Just say, hey, you know, Johnny, are you ready? You ready? Paying attention? You know, ready position. Show me your ready position. And then get him to show it to you. Like, as a coach, I know it's hard just focusing on the one thing, but you've got to have your eyes spread out. Like all 4 coaches, you've got to have your eyes spread out on everyone.
Yeah, I don't shut up. In a game of T-ball, like I do not shut up the whole game. Like I'm going from player to player to player to reminding them of things, you know, because again, you need to nail this down now because when they get older, you don't want to be yelling out instructions on every single play. You know what I mean? You want them to be thinking for themselves and doing it for themselves. So at this stage, we need to stay on them to make sure that they're on the ball and they're thinking the right things and they're communicating with each other. Yeah, so that we don't have to later.
Show them when explaining something new. So don't just tell them, righto, when you pick up a ground ball, you know, explain to them, righto, like the athletic position, the ready position, you've got to show them. They can see you doing it and you're saying what you're doing, that's going to get the best result out of them. All right, so everything you explain to them is always going to be brand new, so you need to show them.
Let me just clarify something on what I just said too. When I say that I don't shut up during the whole game, that I do shut up when the ball's been hit. All right, it's before the ball's been hit that I'm reminding them, I'm getting them to pay attention so they're safe. You know, they're watching the ball. I'm reminding them of, all right, let's think about where the batters. I ask them questions. All right, where can we get an out? You know what I mean? I might tell them sometimes what the play is if they look like they're not going to answer me, but usually it's trying to get them to tell me where's the play. Like, there's a runner on one. Where's the runner? Where can we get an out? And they'll be like, 2. I'll be like, all right, we'll talk to each other. Let's go pivots, talk to each other. Third base, you're playing 2, second. You know, but once the ball's hit, I don't yell out at them and say, play one, you know, all the time. You know, like, or play 2, like whatever it is. You want to try, because the crowd will do that anyway, you know. Yeah. Like, you just want to try and leave them with it. For the play, and then you can remind them after the play even. You can say, hey, remember that was that play? Oh yeah, okay, what's the next one then? All right, beauty. And then leave them with it for the play. And then talk between plays, not during the play, because it doesn't help. As much as you think you're directing them like you're moving chess around a chessboard, it's not. It's just noise to them when they're out there.
When a player is running home, remove the tee from home plate area so there's no collisions. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. We went through that. Don't allow your batter to move up to the hitter's box until the catcher has placed the ball on the tee. This is something that I noticed a lot. Like, kids are excited, they just want to go up there. They go up there and they're ready and they've got their bat ready and the ball's not even there. And then first base is taking them 3 minutes to get the ball because it's got thrown past them, and then they've thrown it down here, and then catcher goes and gets it because he can't catch it and it's at the back net, and then he walks straight up to where little Johnny's swinging it and he puts the ball on the tee, and there ends up being a collision there. So I'm always like, I'm standing back here when it's the next one to come up, so I go like, all right, Paulie, come up, and I get down with him and I'm here and I'm like, righto, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And they're going to tell me. They go through that whole checklist. They go, righto, and then wait till the ball's on the tee. And they go, righto, ball's on the tee now you go. And then they go up, but then I come back over here and then I talk to them again. But again, I've seen it happen multiple times from the other team. So like, I just had to go and tell coaches, hey, can you just don't tell them to get in the batter's box until that ball, catchers put the ball on the tee and walked back away. Because the kids just get excited swinging that bat. Encourage your team talk and reiterate the positives from the game afterwards. So again, once the game's finished, you go up third baseline, first baseline, or whatever. Depends how much time you've got. But introduce that and then tell them everything they did good. That's where you'll tell them, like, you know, who got their player of the game, or hand out your award, take your photos and all of that. But just really piss in their pockets about how good they did. No, they'll love it. They'll love it. Encourage your team to shake hands and acknowledge the other team. The sportsmanship's a massive one with me. With our Colts team on the weekend, I absolutely lost my shit at the under 12s team because I told them at the start of the training, this is right after the trial. I said, I'm not here, I'm here to make you better teammates. So that's my job as assistant coach there. I want to make them better teammates. So one thing we do, and this is another thing that my Red Sox team does that no other team does. And again, I hear parents talking about how good it is. they'll come down the line because at that age they still line up at first base, third base. They come down the line. So my kids come down the line, they take their hat off and they're waving to all our parents. All our parents get their photos and clap. Then they do their high fives at the plate, and then they'll go up third base line. Same thing to the other parents. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I get them to walk all the way up to the base, touch third base because there's obviously parents spread from here to here, and then they turn to their left and they walk back down. They come back behind the home plate and they say, thank you scorers, thank you umpires, and then they can walk back up the line and then we go and have our chat. It's so simple, but it's just those little things that just shows respect, right? And I said to our Colts team as an example, I said to them, win, lose or draw, like I want that. That's what I want. That's my win for you guys to do that, because I know no other team does it properly, right? And then they all had the shits because they lost. And I put my young bloke at the start because he knows exactly what to do. I said, everyone just follow him. Just follow, wherever he does, you just follow him. And I had about 2 or 3 kids that just like high-fived and then just turned around and walked off. I lost my shit. Like when we went out there for a chat, like I thought all the parents could hear me because I didn't care about the game. I cared about them not shaking hands properly and thanking the other parents. So it's little things like that. I practice that. Like that's literally at my training. I practice that. We did for our first 2 weeks because not daylight savings yet. We've got no lights out at the field. Just our meet and greet. That was our training. We practiced how to shake hands. All right.
So not only that, right, but just to touch on that, a little point around that is, we're not just as coaches, right? Everyone here, if you've played sport, I bet you remember your coach when you were a kid, right? Or at least one of your coaches when you were a kid. So we're not just teaching them, it sounds cliche, sounds like it's a bit soppy, but we're not just teaching them how to play baseball, right? We are leading by example for these kids. We're an adult role model in their life, whether we think we are or not. We are a role model in their life to show them the right way to conduct yourself. So when things get heated or whatnot, if you jump up and down like a pork chop and you're in the umpire's face at an under-10s game, you know what I mean? What do you think your kids are going to learn? But if the pressure's on, things are getting tough, and you keep yourself cool, calm and collected, they're going to learn that as well. Okay, so you really are a role model to these kids, whether you think you are or not. They look up at you like you're God, all right? So, and they're going to remember you for the rest of your life. So we're shaping young kids here too, you know. So keep that in mind in everything you do when you're out on the field and at the training paddock, and when you talk to them as well. And sorry, one more little thing on that too about how kids remember coaches. Always try and find time for that little bit of individual talk to the kids, like individual, you know, pat on the back for the kids. We do it all a lot as a team and as a whole team, but don't underestimate how powerful it is to say, hey Johnny, mate, that was a blinder of a catch, or hey, I noticed your ready position today, mate, and it was outstanding, or I've seen how you cheer on the rest of the kids, man, that is really, really good. Like that one little thing, using their name, talking just directly to them, like has a huge impact, all right? It just does, because again, think back to when we were young. You know what I mean? I bet we all can probably find something like that in our memory, and it really does help the kids, and it keeps them coming back and makes them feel good about themselves, you know. In today's day and age and the world we live in these days, we can't do enough to make these kids feel good about themselves, you know.
I just add one point that I didn't want to
Yep.
shake hands.
Yep. Yep.
You don't, no one needs to do that, but you're going ready to do everyone else, your parents and the other players.
Yeah, after we do our team chat, we take our photos and stuff, they have to shake each other's hand, they shake coach's hand, and they have to go back and thank mum and dad. Every time. And no matter what, whether I'm talking to an under 6s team or a pro team, like that's thank mum and dad. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be, you know. If required, pair players up with similar skill levels on the field. So again, as you're getting a bit older and kids are getting a bit stronger, don't put little Lucy that is scared of catching a tennis ball at first base, and then little Bobby that can throw rockets at pitcher, because nothing will come good of that. You know, so I used to pair my in T-ball, my pitcher and my first base were always paired up, like they were throwing partners, so they know they can catch the ball from each other. And my whole, depending who was there, everything, pretty much what I used to do. So for a game, my pitcher and first base would be there the whole game, and every other position would change. And then the next week I'd have a new pair, and for me, this has just worked for me. Like I said, pitcher gets the ball 9 out of 10 times. Yeah, so like that's exactly right. So there's that relationship there. There's that safety factor. But I know that kid's got plenty of ground balls, you know. But if he was pitcher and then he went to first and then he went to third and then he went to right field, it might be 9 games he might not even get a ground ball. But I know if they're pitcher, they're going to get the ball at least 10 times that game. But I done that, and I revolved everyone else around that. But that was just me. You just don't have to do that. Make sure you notify the other team when last batter is in the box. Is that same for B-ball? As last batter, everyone runs? Yeah? Yep. Nah, not with you guys, with under 8s, nah. Yeah, perfect. It just is what it is. You keep
That was
going
the confusing part. We actually went through our whole roster.
without an out.
Yeah, and I said, look, just keep going. But
Most likely as the batting coach, as the coach of the batting side, you're the umpire as well. In T-ball, you're standing there, you're kind of doing everything from back there. You'll yell, play ball, put the ball and say help them or stuff like that. Discuss any game situation queries with the opposing coach prior to the game starting. So again, like you just said, then you don't know if we're going to stop at the last batter, or if you just have any questions, just talk with the umpire, talk with the other coach beforehand. You don't want to get halfway through the game and go, oh, what do we do here? Like, just openly discuss it. And I found different teams I'd have different rules with. So for instance, like round 1 last week, it's supposed to be 4 runs for the first 3 innings. Then it goes to open. The team that we were playing, they couldn't score a run of us, and we just kept scoring 4 runs. So I just said to them, hey, we're going to keep it closed. We'll just, if 4 runs again, then we'll swap. Like, it's just, you can modify it to suit, as long as everyone knows what's going on. And again, that was just a judgment call. Everyone thought it was the best thing. Otherwise, it would have been 30-1 or something like that, something stupid. So, all right, last one. Now, this is the most important that we've touched on, or we keep saying we're going to touch on, is ideally having 4 coaches or helpers is optimal. All right, so you want one with the batter. You want your head coach with the batter in T-ball. Usually, you're going to want a coach up at first base, a coach at third base, and then you want an EO, a manager, or a dugout coach. That there on game day is minimum. I have that. I have 3 coaches, and then I have 2 in the dugout. One of them's making sure the kids are ready to go. The other one's my wife, where she's just like, if parents have queries, I reckon your phone's dead and
No one's parked in front of any roller doors, are they?
Yeah, I have one coach in the dugout that sorts out the players, and the other one, our EO manager, that deals with the scorer, the parents, or whatever.
Good.
But again, and then I've also got 2 parents in my team that are just helpers. Like at training, they'll do whatever I need them to do. As you get older too, you're going to need an umpire. You're going to have to kind of mum or daddy in to be an umpire, or an older brother or something like that. So yeah, on staff, you could really have 6 or 7 people in a T-ball team. Like, it's ridiculous, but the more help, the better. Don't knock anyone back. Someone says they want to help and you don't have anything for them, find something for them to do. Find something to say, right, I want you to, you know, if we need water, can you go get water from the parents or something like that. We'll just talk about how many coaches, mate.
Yeah, the coaches. That is so important. Who here has 4 of you combined? Who has less than that? Probably a lot of yous. I'm telling you, you got to grab them. You've got to grab them. Like, it's not for the older ones. You can probably get away with 3, or if they can look after themselves in the dugout, maybe 2, because you're going to be on third base. But T-ball and minors, like 3 maybe once you're starting to get to Zuka. But T-ball, man, you've got to have 4. You've got to have 4. It doesn't matter who it is. You've got to push to get those 4, because, do you have 4?
yeah, we have 4.
Yeah, good. And like usually the EO or the dugout manager, they got the hardest job on game day. And usually like if you've got teachers in your team, women, without being sexist, are very good at this job because they're just great at relating to kids and all that kind of stuff. But they usually get training off. You know what I mean? Those two guys will usually be your assistants at training too, because you want 3 guys at training, or 3 guys, 3 girls, whoever it is at training. So because remember, we want to have that 3-station rotation so that we can, like you said before, break our team up into small. I always, once you get past Aussie T-ball and you get to T-ball, I always push and try and make sure I've got 12 kids in my team, because that's I want to build, that's a baseball team, right? And I want to take the same kids through if I can, so that I don't keep having to change every year. So that gives me 4 in each group, all right? So those, not only does it make you helpful on game day, for the little ones, like knowing where to run, all that kind of stuff, because you need to, if you're the head coach and you're here, most of you are probably the head coach, like it's mad you came as well, you're probably the most knowledgeable as well when it comes to swinging and stuff like that. So you want to be with the batter. You want to be there to, like we said, go through that checklist and nail down that hitting in the first couple of years before we get to live pitch. Then that way you can have someone on third, someone on first, that can just be a parent. You know, you just say, hey, look, I'll come and help me, I'll show you. It's really easy. All you got to do is tell them when to run. Give them a high five when they get there, tell them when to run, tell them when to stop. Easy peasy, anyone can do it, you know. Makes your life so much easier. And then having someone in the dugout as well. I'm telling you, when we look around, I've spent the last 3 years in T-ball, and you look around the fields at the T-ball, because we're all at the same place, and I can tell just by looking around who came to this night and who didn't, right? Just by seeing how their teams are run. And also you can tell the teams that end up with half the side showing up at the end of the season are the teams that are trying to run it with 1 or 2 coaches, because it's just a shambles, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not the fault of those 1 or 2 people that are there. You just can't do it well. You can't do it well with, like, it's like herding cats, you know what I mean? Like, it's like trying to get a bag full of rats to play baseball. It's so tricky, and you just can't do it with less than that fewer people. So you've got to get in front of it. Communication's key. Talk to your stakeholders, talk to your parents. Yeah, you're doing it. They're no different to you. They've got to come out and help as well. You know, you just got to get in front of them and get them to help you. So yeah, it's so important that it's the teams that only have 1 or 2 coaches are the ones that end up with half the team left at the end of the year. Yeah, it's so important that.
That's pretty much it. Has anyone got any questions or anything we haven't touched on? Again, this was like a real basic, dumb kind of meeting. But it's
more run by dum-dums, not too dum-dums.
It's more fine-tuning, I think.
Yeah, and you can, especially like the B-ball and T-ball, like as you guys go, you know, and you've been around sport and that, like as you guys go, you'll be able to adjust it yourselves to suit. Again, like we're in I think I've written in here somewhere too, like we're blessed but we're cursed. You can go onto YouTube and you can type in baseball coaching and a million things will come up. You know, but doesn't necessarily mean any of them are going to suit what you guys are doing, which is why we kind of did this and why Matt does all these videos that RBI putting up on YouTube, because there's not much out there that breaks it down like this. And again, with the T-ball, like baseball's a little bit different, because once you get to a level, then it's kind of more regimented of what you can do. But up until they kind of know the game, you're on a whim kind of thing. Like it's whatever suits that kid, whatever suits that team, that age, that level. So it's up to you guys to go, righto, this is where we're going to start, and you take it up that step by step. In saying that, like, don't be afraid to ever shout out to one of us if you want us to come down and help at even a training session, or if we see you out there at a game, or you want a hand with something. Always yell out to us, and more than happy to pop down and help and throw some advice around if you need it.
Yeah, I see all the messages that come through RBI Australia. So if you've got any questions or anything, just shoot them through if you want. You know, like I'll talk about baseball all day. I love it. I love coaching, all that kind of stuff. So happy to answer any questions you got. If you need some drills or whatnot. One of the things that I've included in the email, which probably they usually send them at 8 o'clock, so you've probably already all got it, is the actual plan that I used in here for Tanner, what Tanner did. So his little fella just did our junior academy that we did in here. So it was like an 8-week program. Obviously I run it in a cage, so it's a bit, the drills are made to do in a cage, but anything you can do in a small area, you can do on a field easier, right? And you'll see, and again, I'm running with 2 coaches. So I run in 2 drills at once usually. We're usually doing 2 different drills, swap over, yada, yada, but you do 3. But that is the actual plan that I use, like that I design and I use myself, when I do it in here. So you'll be able to get some good stuff out of that. And even me, like I've had conversations with you before, like this will be my 24th year of coaching, right? I've come through, this is my 3rd time bringing a team through from like little kids through to like senior league or whatever. And you see me in there, I've got all the plans in the world. I get prepared, I bring all the gear, I own a bloody baseball facility, but you put me in there with 6 or 7 kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old, man, and I don't have full control over them, you know what I mean? Like I don't have full control either, so you don't try and put too much expectation on yourself when you're trying to coach these kids, because they are going to run amok, man. They're kids, they play, that's what they do, they play, There's going to be some off with the fairies every now and then, as long as they're not in danger. You know what I mean? It's cool, and they will learn. You think that these kids aren't listening to you sometimes when they're little, but I'm telling you, you go through the motions. You keep telling them, you tell them, pay attention every now and then, and you keep going through it, and you create games, and you get them to do things, and you'll see when they, he actually did listen. He just made that play that we worked on a couple of weeks ago, and he was listening. You know what I mean? So it does go in. So just don't be too hard on yourselves, because no one can control little kids. That's just the nature of little kids, right? And the best players are usually the ones that are climbing up the fences when they're 5 and 6 years old, and then they're the ones that have got the real gusto, So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself when you're coaching little fellas. Any other questions?
I was thinking, first starters, our first training sessions tomorrow. We're pretty starting with the learning on the field. We're going to get a field ball section on learning on the field. And I'm probably not taking the session now.
Yeah, that'll be a whole training session just about.
And then next week, try and go there maybe first. There's a lot of time on the weekend, first game we'll have. We're going to pitch off. First base and catcher was the way involved, ball, go first, touch base, throw it home.
Yep.
So just trying to get that. Come up with little drills to.
Have you got helpers tomorrow?
Yeah.
2 years? Is there another one?
Adam.
So you got a 3rd as well?
We'll go company.
Yeah, sweet. And like how many kids you take? 9?
Yeah.
So if they all show up, that's 3 groups of 3. That's beautiful. Easy. Just like from what Daniel said today, get someone. If you can find another helper, even it'll be like a 4th one sometimes to play. When you got little kids, you want an adult to be your first baseman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even a net. If you get a net, put that at first base, because if you try and get them to throw to each other, it's going to be havoc.
Yeah.
So easy. Line up a pitcher's plate, roll it, jump on the surfboard like he said, pointing it towards first base and throw the ball to first base. That's a beautiful drill, you know what I mean? Get the tees out, there's another drill, all bat at the same time. Try and get them swinging the bat every training session, you know what I mean? And another drill can just be learning how to catch. Just just many catches, you know what I mean? Back and forth. There's 3 drills. Warm up, run the bases, 3 drills there, play a game at the end. They can play a chase game, they can play the tagging game. Just explain to them that why they do it with 2 hands, tag them with 2 hands, Just gamify the hell out of it. Split them up, it'll be a good training session. You'll be surprised what you cover in a short period of time. Any other questions? No.
Not a question, but just we've talked about heaps tonight about just being the call out read positions. But another thing as well is just making sure they do that, because that leads into them and talking about the plays. Obviously, we're not, my whole life growing up, I've always been the one play plays, infield play 1, outfield play 2, and that comes off the back of them calling out ready positions. So then start talking about other things as well that relate to the game.
Oh man, great minds think alike. It's like I've coached you before, mate. I actually meant to say that earlier. It's a fantastic point. Like it leads into communication. That ready position thing, it is the most important thing. You will get 50% more outs. I always tell my teams, if you know the play before it happens. That is half the battle. Being able to pick it, catch it, throw it is only, it's 90% of the game is mental. Only the other 50% is physical, you know what I mean? But it's bloody knowing the play before it happens and communicating. If you can get your team to do that, you could just do that with a team. Say, Squibby, you've got a team you've just walked into this year. If you just got them communicating about the plays by the end of the season, you watch how much better they are. If they got no better at catching, no better at throwing, no better at any knowledge, but just talked about the plays before each play, man, your teams will just be twice as good, twice as many outs, and that's not even an exaggeration. You'll make twice as many outs by them knowing the play before it happens. So, like I said in T-ball, I'm always talking before the plays. I'm trying to make sure that they're communicating. I'll tell them if they're not doing it themselves, because I want to get that into them while they're young so that they do know what to do. And it's like, remember what I do? That's what you need to do. You need to do that talking, not me. That's your job out there. And yeah, I've seen it with my team that I coached in a girls rhinos team. That I took and we played softball, T-ball on Wednesday night last year. And the biggest thing we did was talk about knowing the play before it happened. And mate, they were 5 times as good in the field. 5 times, that's not exaggerated. 5 times good in the field just by talking about the plays before they happen. And it was unbelievable. So that is the key to fielding.
When we were kids, only 4 and 5 year old, but going back when we were saying like big specials, and they all lined up and gave each other high fives and take your hat off and wave around and say thank you to everyone. Really cool. Maybe hats around, maybe the parents is pretty good.
It looks great. Makes it a bit of pageantry, makes the whole thing awesome, Because remember, you're not just trying to keep these kids having fun to come back. The people who are going to bring them back are their parents. So if they look out there, it works both ways. If they look out there when you've got 1 or 2 coaches, the things are shambles, they don't even last the season. They're like, why am I bringing my kid out here for this rubbish each week? But then if it's really well run, they look good, it's cute, they like to see it, makes them laugh, they're going to bring them back as well, like they're going to, the parents, you've got to play to that a little bit too,
If you're new to it, your parents will be surprised how well that works. The parents get in, parents will play against the kids are out there field against mum and dad, they're like, oh, I've got to put that out, mum out.
They learn how hard it is too.
And they'll talk about that. It doesn't matter what age, I still do it now. You catch Matt out.
And if the parents haven't played before and they sit on the sideline and they're critical of their kids who you're trying to teach this very, very hard game to, a game like that, they certainly say, all right, maybe I'll just let the coaches do the work. Yeah, that's right. Anything else, dudes? No? Beautiful. All right, excellent. Thanks for coming, guys. I hope you guys all have a great season. Thank you very much for Dan standing up here and talking for an hour straight. It's not easy. But thank you very much.
Good to see you, mate.
Appreciate it. Great to see you.
Go on, you Squibby.
Thank you, brother.
Good luck, mate. I'll see you out there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, thank you, mate. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thanks for coming, boys. That's it for today's episode of RBI Australia Inside the Game. Thanks for tuning in. If you picked up something new, make sure to share it with your team or hit replay. We'll be back soon with more tips, drills and insights to help you level up. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, train smart, play hard and keep growing that game.
Bring swagger to every swing. XX Fusion batting gloves are built for control, comfort and serious style. Textured grip, pro-level feel, built for hitters who don't mess around. Match your gloves with XX bat grips. Printed or solid, every grip's made to pop and perform. Moisture resistant, ultra tacky, zero distractions. Available now in adult and youth sizes, online or in store. Gear up at RBI Australia, Smeaton Grange, Rouse Hill or at rbiaustralia.com.au. Shop XXX today.